This video is about time blindness and the confusion that it can cause. A lot of people don't realize that time blindness can make a person become confused. It's very disoriented and disorienting. Sighted people can have time blindness too, not just blind people. Blind people experience it a bit more significantly because they don't have the ability to see light and know that it's day or night unless they're like not completely blind, like they're mostly blind. And for them, as well as for sighted people with time blindness, but more for the blind, it can cause a lot of sleep issues. So I have to give you some background information. I try to abbreviate it. I'm not very good at that. So that you can understand the story when I tell it. I'm not able to, you won't be able to understand the story when I tell it if I don't say these things first. So, mornings are a terrible struggle for me because I have central neurologic apnea, which causes a person to stop breathing many times during the night. For me, it's hundreds of times an hour. And it causes brain fog, severe fatigue, and sometimes depression. On top of, I already have ADHD, a muscle disorder that causes fatigue and cramping, executive functioning problems from TBIs, and encephalitis when I was a child. Also, diagnosed with 6-second attention span, which I think I tend to do better most of the time, but when they timed me, that's how it was. And slow processing. These are the things I'm naming, not the only things, but the things that affect my ability to, wake up in combination with central apnea. So, in order to get up in the morning, it's about a 3-hour or longer process for me. I don't bother to use an alarm anymore because the alarm will, without something to help me get up, an alarm is useless. I'll just hear it and keep resetting it, and I won't be able. I need more intervention. I used to use coffee, as my intervention with lots of sugar, but over time I started realizing, matching up. Okay, I'm always having this depression in the afternoon. That it's not just coffee; it's tea, and it's certain foods like like chocolate cake and brownies cause it. It's the tannins and which are colors in foods, natural foods, and sometimes artificial ones are even worse. So I had to stop using teas and coffee and any kind of drinks that have colors that cause this, whether they're caffeinated or not. And that left me, because people would say, oh, that's the caffeine causing it. No, it wasn't. It was the tannins, and I figured it out by testing. So I got caffeine pills, and they didn't cause me the depression. So even with the caffeine pill, 200 milligram, I wouldn't take the full thing. I just sit there and nip it and make it go into my body like you sip coffee, right? So I would nip the little caffeine pill about 1/3. It would little by little until I consumed 1/3, and that would help me gradually to wake up. Meanwhile, I would sit there. If I could sit up, um, I would begin trying to do things to get my brain active and get my motivation up, like thinking about interesting things I was hoping to get done that day or urgent things. And that worked for a time until my body started having trouble with the binders in pills. It doesn't matter, vitamins, doesn't matter what it is. I have trouble now with the binders, which are usually cellulose, and that converts to epinephrine, and it gives me a really bad time. It feels like a panic attack. It's not a real panic attack. It's just the epinephrine level in my body is out of control. Um, so so I had to quit caffeine. Um, and I had to come up with something else because I'm not going to give up. I need something, and I'm an I can person, and I'm going to find a solution to my problem. So I figured out, okay, what makes you get up out of bed in the morning? Having to go to the bathroom really bad. So I was like, make yourself have to go to the bathroom really bad. Okay, put a cup of water next to my bed, um, and then use that the same way I would do the coffee or the caffeine. Just sit there and drink it and drink it and drink it until the big cup is empty as I could get it before, whichever comes first, empty or I have to go to the bathroom really bad. That would get me on my feet, you know, and then and so if I could last on my feet and fight through the fatigue and through the brain fog, then I could get on with my day, an hour of that or whatever. But if I couldn't, then I would just sit there and sip, keep drinking until things kicked in. And like if I went to the bathroom and I was still too bad, I would have to come back with a second cup of water, sipping that and going like over try to sit up, be vertical as much as I could, which is usually only sitting. And that way, while I'm doing that, I go over my daily text and my daily reading routine, audio reading routine. And, this whole, like I said, this whole process could be like, anywhere between 3-4 hours. So if I have to get up to go to a doctor appointment at, say, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I have to be up at 5. I have to start this routine at earlier than 5, usually about like 2 or 3, because then I still have to have time to get ready. uh, yeah, it's rough. But anyway, so I had done all that this morning, and after that, I take my I run my dogs through their potty routine, and then um, and head out to go make breakfast. I first feed them, then I make breakfast for myself, and then do like laundry or whatever I can get done during the day. My day's half over. It's always discouraging, and I, I just get through the day. Um, by by 4 o'clock, I call it the end of the day because in an hour it's time to start dinner, and and that's a hard task for me with time blindness, trying to time food. So I feed my dogs and then I make dinner for myself, and I have sometimes only like a couple of hours left. Sometimes by the time I'm done with dinner and dishes, it's like 8 o'clock, and I feel like that's all I ever do every day of the week. Just that routine. It's hard to squeeze anything else in. Um, a lot of times I need to be immersed in order to focus, and when I immerse, I really lose track of time. And then it's almost terrifying to me to get into anything because too many things can go wrong if I do. Um, and I'm slowpoke because of it. So if I do want to do a project or something, like immersing and the time I need to correct my mistakes and start over however many times, it's you got to have some mental preparation to be able to face that when you want to do something, so it doesn't happen as often as I wish it could. um, so anyway, got through all that stuff and was heading to bed, put my doggies through their potty routine, and then it was going to be my little routine before bed. And I'm doing a couple of things, and then all of a sudden I realize it's 10 o'clock. And the confusion set in because time blindness isn't only about the clock. It's about it affects um, it affects your perceptions of time and what you do, what you've done, how long you've done it. What you can get confused between your days, your hours, your weeks, sometimes your months, and a lot of times I wake up, I check the date and the time, and then within a couple of hours, I start thinking it's a different day and a different time. So here's one, today is one of those episodes. And so I'm thinking, oh, how did I get all these things done so quick? I couldn't remember cooking dinner and having lunch. I can only remember I ate breakfast. So I thought that's what I had just finished doing. And I thought, how did I get it all done by 10? I'm never even out of bed at 10 o'clock. I'm still struggling at 10. I'm not able to even stand up until 10:30, 11, sometimes 12. How did I do this? But because I have so frequent confusion with the time blindness, I just accepted, okay, well, some parts of my day I'm just not clear on, and said, oh, good, can, I'm ahead of myself. I can go do something for a change. Maybe I'll, go to the um, post office, or maybe I'll do this or that. And I've been trying to, instead of lately for like the past week and a half, I've been trying to feed myself first because I've been losing weight, um, putting myself off too long, taking care of my dogs and routine. And just something just showed up on my phone and I couldn't read it. Um, so anyway, losing a bit of weight, and so I just wanted to like take care of myself first and then come back and get my dogs through their potty routine. But they were still in bed, so I didn't remember that I'd put them through the potty routine. I thought I was going to have to do that. And then um, I went out into the kitchen to get myself something to eat, and I noticed it's really dark out here. Why is it so dark? I looked at the window. It was black outside. It was nighttime. It's nighttime, not daytime. I don't have a morning. I'm not looking at a brand new day. I'm looking like I gotta go to bed. See, you don't have awareness of your tiredness either, because it throws everything off, throws your sleep off, it throws everything off. So I was kind of downhearted that I have to go to bed and um, not get to do anything, and I'm not ahead of myself. But yeah, it's a hard thing to live with. Uh, this is like the third time I'm doing this video over because I can't seem to share the points. I can't follow scripts, so I can't seem to share the points um, that I want to consistently each time. I always leave something out. But um, anyway, I hope that this video helps um, somebody out there to realize that if you have time blindness, you are doing a good job. You're getting through it. And if you don't have time blindness, then hopefully it'll help you to be more understanding or patient, or be able to recognize somebody who has it when they're confused, or it could look like dementia, but it's not. It's just difficulty with um, where you're at in time and what you've done. And when you start thinking you're in a different time period or on a different day, suddenly you just get confused and you think, I'm on a different day. I mean, it just throws everything out of whack. You you, you can end up trailing off on the wrong things all day, and then finally realize it and have to start saying, oh my gosh, I didn't get any of the things done I was supposed to do, or need reminding. Like I get up sometimes in the morning and I look at the time and the date, and then I'll keep thinking all day long it's a different day than what I knew it was. And my son will say, Mom, it's not that day, it's this day. And I'll say, oh yeah, that's right, that's right. And then go straight back into believing it's a different day. It just affects you so badly and so much that time does not make sense to you. And I feel like the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. I'm late, I'm late. I'm always running around, keeping a clock on hand, my phone, my a watch. I've got clocks all over the walls. So if this video dies, that's because I've run out of battery or something. So, but I'll keep talking. Yeah, it affected me really bad, and it's a large part of why I got disability, a permanent disability, because the judge I had applied for disability 4 times, and I was on my 5th time, and same judge, and she was just determined to make me this was my 5th and last time, or I have to start my whole case over again. And she was determined to try to make that happen. But my attorney surprised me that he had asked for a medical expert. If things weren't going right, he was gonna call him in, and things weren't going right, so he's gonna have to call him in. And sure enough, well, it turned out my attorney had found out and forewarned me. This might not go as planned, as well as we thought, as well as he hoped, because this medical expert was from a women's prison, and well, that just shot me down. And my lawyer wasn't too optimistic anymore either. But it turned out that it was actually a very good thing, because he had read my medical record, 2-inch thick medical record about these things from cover to cover, because he was curious. He was wondering, since he worked in a women's prison and they all had a lot of the disabilities I had, like learning disability, ADHDs, all these combination issues, but they resorted to theft and prostitution and like severe bad relationships that ended up in like killing their killing somebody. And so he was curious, like, why didn't this happen to her? So that's why he read my thing from cover to cover. And he was the best thing that could have happened. I think a blessing, because uh, when the judge kept insisting, who pays your salary, and he'd have to answer the state, and she kept asking him that question throughout, reminding him, like, you work for who again, whose side are you on? But he kept defending me, and she wanted me to just go, even though their team of experts had come up that there were no jobs that would accommodate my disabilities. She still wanted me to go to work and get a spotter, they called it, someone who would like help me acclimate to the job and um, be there if I needed help on a temporary basis until I adjusted. And he kept arguing that's not realistic. No job is going to be able to support her because she needs ongoing um, and he kept saying it's a cumulative thing. It's not just this thing or that thing or the other. It's cumulative, and cumulatively, it's too impairing. And like the memory issue, where like the time blindness fools me into thinking that it's another day or another time, and um, all of my job history had proved that I had issues on my jobs because of it. So he finally won out on her, and she shut down, and I got disability that day. But before I had gone into court, I had told God, because I had worked really hard to get out of bad relationships, break the cycle, and I didn't trust myself, so I wouldn't promise God anything until I could trust myself and show myself I could do it. And I did. I waited a long enough time that showed me that, yeah, it's not just today, but it's lasting. And then I said to him, if you give me disability, I will really love that, and I'll be really, really thankful, and I won't go back to a bad relationship. But if you don't give me disability, I still won't go back to a bad relationship, because the learning disabilities cause me to be dependent, and the dependency would cause me to end up in relationships with people that weren't in a relationship for the right reasons. They were harmful, hurtful people, user friendly people. Um, so anyway, I said, if I don't get disability, um, I won't go back, even if it knocks my teeth out. If I have to stand on a corner with a cardboard sign and a Sharpie marker saying anything helps, that's what I'll do, but I won't go back. And I promised I wouldn't go back to a bad relationship. That was in 2019, but it took me from 2016 to 19 to get out and clear myself of the last bad situation I was in, and trust myself that I wouldn't go back in. Anyway, I walked out with disability that day and have kept my promise ever since. So yeah, it's really, really super hard for people with these type of disabilities to be able to perform on jobs, and basically in any situation. Like my time issues would be a perfect reason for abusers to say hurtful things to me and try to break me down and make me feel like I was worthless. But God didn't think I was worthless. And what they threw away like trash, He picked me up like I was treasure and showed me I could overcome not my disabilities, but my outlook and my hope. So um, I hope that if you have a time blindness and it's plaguing you, that causing you lots of hardships and um, downheartedness or self-esteem issues, that you'll think on these things and feel uplifted and comforted by them. And if you don't have time blindness, then I hope that you will recognize it in someone. If they do, be a lot more patient with people. If you just see somebody like they're struggling with, or they look like they're not trying hard enough, or you think they're lazy, or they're um, lackadaisical or forgetful, well, why not take some time to think first? Could this be something? Could they actually not be diagnosed and be struggling with something they don't even understand fully themselves? And could I be more patient with them and keep, give them some assistance, some help, some patience, some comfort? Um, so anyway, I'm trying to keep this really short. I think I've done a better job than the past 3 times I've tried to do it. So that's it. I'm gonna push this button now.